Okay, welcome to tonight's Student Senate session. We're going to begin with a roll call. AC Welch.
Here.
President Becker. Deepa Murphy.
Here.
DPSA Tomu.
Here.
Treasurer Ercolani.
Here.
Assistant Treasurer Weber.
Here.
Vice Chair Mystic.
Here.
Services Coordinator Tivitamwa. Concerts Chair Christensen.
Here.
DOC Logan.
Oh,
Senator Stallings.
here.
Senator Christian. Cool. Senator Monteforte.
Here.
Senator Moen.
Here.
Senator Vale.
Here.
Senator Gumigiala.
Here.
Senator Jones.
Here.
Senator Lloyd.
Here.
Senator Zernig.
Here.
Senator Nieto.
Here.
Senator Cure.
Here.
Senator McDowell.
Here.
Senator Herbert.
Here.
Senator Pedro Santa.
Here.
Senator Collinger. Senator Pierce. Senator Knapp. Thank you. Senator Timberwolf.
Here.
ACES Co-Director DeRoche. ACES Co-Director Coleman. ACES Outreach Coordinator Preston. Green Fund Co-Chair Higginhauser. TA Gold.
Here.
CBS Delegate Hill. SHIC Delegate Cheslak. Scarlet and Black Delegate Bulkey. Cool. Alright, thank you all. We're going to have to vote on the approval of the minutes. So we're just going to directly vote on that. The polls are open. A is in favor, B is opposed, C is abstaining. This is for the approval of the minutes of the last Student Senate's meeting. That was on November 18th. Alright, the polls are now closed. Oh, just kidding, we're waiting on one. We got it. And with all those in favor, that passes. Thank you for approving the minutes. We can now move on to our public comments, announcements, and additional events. So I see that we have an announcement by Senator Gumigiala.
We're having Waltz Committee on Tuesday at 7 in JRC 204. Waltz is this Saturday, also in Main Quad, at 10 p.m. So yeah, we could really use like any help that anyone would be willing to offer for Waltz because we're kind of crunched on time. So that would be great. Thanks.
Thank you. Senator Collinger, can we get a mic down, please?
Make sure to also tell your constituents that for Winter Waltz, we're going to have live bands. So 2 student bands are going to be performing, which will be really fun. So yeah, like 10:45 and like 11:10-ish. So yeah.
Thank you. Senator, no. Yes, Senator Cheslak. My bad.
2 things. First, SHIC is having a Tinder workshop on Friday from 6 to 8 in Bob's, and it'll be really fun. We're gonna help people build their dating profile, get advice / support, and get people more comfortable with online dating / prepare for hooking up or dating outside of Grinnell. If anyone's interested in helping with all your online dating advice, email SHIC. We need Tinder experts. And then the second announcement is we're doing another bagel brunch. The Coliseum Saturday at 11. And if anyone's interested in helping with that, setting up, cutting fruit, shopping, etc., you can email me. Yeah, Cheslak is my email.
Thank you. Senator Pierce.
The CLS is hosting a hot chocolate bar study break upstairs in the JRC second floor lobby right after this from 8 to 9:30. So there'll be toppings for your hot chocolate, there'll be apple cider, various options there. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other public comments, announcements, or events? Seeing none, we can move on to the next item on the agenda, which are the ACE budgets. So could we get a mic to ACE Chair Mystic, please? Thank you.
Hello. We had a lot of budgets today. It went from 5 to 8 in a few hours. It was crazy. We had a ramen study break come, bagel brunch, the SHIC Tinder workshop, the diversity kind of event that's going to be hosted by ISO, IAA, and QAA, which seems really interesting. The ACE/ACES event that's happening this Friday during the ELF screening in Harris Cinema, which is basically like an event to get ACEs and ACE awareness about like what we do. Winter Waltz, which you guys will be talking about soon. The prison release party and the BCC barbershop. Also with that, we know that the monitor is going to be like meeting with Mari at ICA to like solidify this into the institution so that this is happening like every few weeks, and that we're no longer we're not paying the whole thing or we're paying like half or something like that, just so that we have like an institutionalized version of this like barbershop thing that everyone's using.
Can I add to something? Okay, I'm on the Chinese and Japanese SEPC. The ramen study break is not in JRC 101, it's in JRC 227, so I just made that correction because in my budget request I made that mistake and I said JRC 101, but that is the, 227. Okay. Yeah. Go for it. Senator Gumijala going to present the Waltz budget. Okay. Thank you, thank you.
Oh, okay. So as you know, Waltz is coming up this weekend, and this is basically everything that we have that we're gonna need for food decorations. It's a Harry Potter theme. So for the main quad itself, it's gonna be like an icy Yule ball type theme, and then for the lounge, it's gonna be like cozy Harry Potter like props and shit stuff. Yeah. That's it.
There are a few things that we want to amend really quick, if that's, can we do that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the helium tank, Sayla told me that it will cost $30, and so the total will be $30 for that. Also, there are some things that we're still working out regarding the catering from Relish. So, Sayla, do you actually want to talk more about that?
So I guess as you guys know, like when you have events on campus, like you're supposed to like automatically like talk to catering to make sure that this is okay. Especially with like big events like Waltz where we're spending like $4,000 on food. So basically we wanted to do relish instead of catering, and so we basically have to go through the school to make sure that that's okay. So we're still tentatively like not knowing if we're going to have relish or not, just because we're waiting on approval from the school and dining services catering. And sorry, one more thing. We on committee, I didn't change the budget itself just because I wanted to have like the original budget up there. But we did cut the water bottles. And we also doubled the amount of trees, the LED, the 6-pack tree LED, no, not tree LED. The trees were the trees?
So you want to cut the water bottles out of the budget?
Yeah, and the new total for that was $4,795.58. But now with $30 added, hold on, let me do the math.
And you said you wanted to cut out the 6-pack tree LED lights?
Double
that?
Double the size. So the new like overall request would be $4,825.58.
Could you repeat that one more time, please?
$4,825.58.
4,255. Okay, thank you. Okay. Do you have anything else to add on the presentation of this budget? No? Okay, cool. Does anyone have any comments or questions on this budget? Senator Zernig, can we get a mic, please? Oh, you got one. Good, good.
This is just kind of a general question for anyone who has the answer. Why do we have to go through catering and get approval for the food that we're gonna have at a student event.
Treasurer Argolani, would you like to speak to that? Oh, there's a mic.
Can somebody repeat the question? I was answering the question, so I didn't hear it. Because technically catering reserves the first right of refusal for events on Grinnell College's campus. So if there's ever a large event where there is going to be food present, technically we need to ask catering first, and then catering can say no, but if they say yes, we technically need to go through catering. It's a racket.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, go for it.
Is there a price difference between catering from Relish and catering through Grinnell Dining, and what is that price difference?
Is anyone prepared to answer that? Senator Guajella?
We haven't spoken with Grinnell Catering, and so we don't have that estimate right now, if we did have it.
Do you mind speaking into the mic when you respond to questions? Thank you.
They also want 2 weeks notice, and we just started this, so we didn't have 2 weeks.
So if they're gonna say no?
They would say, we felt like there was a stronger chance they'd say no if we asked them to make the food and cater, rather than we get food and ask them if we can cater our own food, if that makes sense.
Yes.
A.T. Gould?
What is the $90 that's associated with the Snapchat filter for? Like, do you have to pay Snapchat? I'm
Yeah.
just curious. Oh,
Yeah.
Yes? Was the question
Oh yeah,
responded
the
to?
answer was yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Snapchat.
Thank you. Delegate Chizek? Oh. You good?
So back to the relish thing first, is like we gave them the amount that we wanted to spend, so it would be like a difference in the amount of food, not like necessarily the price. And then the second thing is like we've already been talking to Relish and they're planning on this, so if we're gonna like kind of screw them over if it doesn't work out. And also in general, I feel like we need an answer soon so that we can tell them that we're gonna screw them over ASAP. I don't know, so yeah.
Aisha Mystic? Hello?
We'll definitely like have this figured out by end of business tomorrow. Like there's no way that I'm gonna go past tomorrow. Honestly, by lunch, if we could, to make sure that Relish knows.
Thank you. Councilor Shea Christensen? Can we pass the mic, please? Thank you.
I don't know if this makes much of a difference, but just for some context, Relish, or the owner of Relish, Kamal, has been around and lived in Grinnell for 20 plus years, and he worked without a salary for the college as the Muslim prayer leader for 20 years until he retired a few years ago. And he and his family are like a really important part of the community, and so I don't know, I think that's a good reason to order food from Relish in general.
Thank you. Senator Stallings?
Yeah, sorry, can we just make this a bit bigger?
Yeah. Do you want to scroll it up? What part of it would you like to see, or would you just want to switch back and forth? Is that good? Okay. All right, are there any further comments or questions regarding this budget? VPSA Tumblr? Can we please get a mic down? Thank you.
Do you guys have a designer for the Snapchat filter?
It's Viv. And yeah.
Yeah, we already made it. If you want me to email it to you, I can do that.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments or questions? Do the presenters of this budget have anything left to add? No? Okay, since this budget is for 4,000 something amount of dollars, we are going to have to vote on it. And seeing that there are no further comments or questions, we're going to move directly to the voting procedure. So the polls are open. A is in favor, B is opposed, C is abstaining, and this is for the approval of the budget for Winter Waltz, which will be next Saturday night in Main Quad, and the budget request is for $4,000, 4825.58 dollars. Sorry, math is not my thing. Okay, we're waiting on a few more. 2 more. A in favor, B opposed, C abstaining. Just waiting on 1 more. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, with 18 in favor and 1 abstention, that budget passes. So congratulations. We have the monies for Winter Waltz. Okay, congrats. Are there any other ACE budgets that need to be presented? No? Alrighty, thank you. We can now move on to the SPC and services budgets.
Hey guys, today we had 2 clubs come forward. One was the Prism release party, and we just forwarded that to ACE because we felt that that was a better place for it to be held. The board game club came through as well. None of these budgets are above 1,000, so you don't have to prove them. Last week we had the Women's Ultimate Frisbee come for a community meal. We didn't have committee, we didn't have Senate, so I just wanted to make sure you guys knew. And a lot of you had been asking about balances, so these are the 2 balances for SPC and services as of today, right now.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions? We don't need to vote on anything, but if anyone has anything to like to ask or add. BPSA Tambu?
The services budget is really low. Is there are there backups or reserves that we can follow?
We could always pull from SPC, but that makes me happy. We traditionally don't even get to like 1,000. Usually we have 2,000 left over, so hopefully this is a good sign.
Treasurer Ercolani, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm confident that we won't need to move any money into the services budget given the disparity between allocations and real spending, but yeah.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions? No. Services Chair Tiptomo, do you have anything to add? Coordinator, I always call it Chair. Coordinator. All right. Thank you. And now our next agenda item is a discussion on the Student Senate's role on campus. So could the leader of this discussion please step up? Thank you.
So I put this discussion on the agenda today just because I wanted to hear some of the senators, what do you guys see your role as on campus as representing the student body, and what are some of the things you'd like to get done? And I think Joshua also wants to add into that.
Well, in our committee today, we had a discussion about discourse, just between senators and cabinet, inside cabinet, within senators themselves, and I personally feel it was very productive. Some things came out of it that we as cabinet perhaps were not fully aware of. 2 of them, which I think are very important, is 1, dissenting against things cabinet obviously supports. I personally just wanted to make it clear that that is a thing you should do if you have a reason against it. I know cabinet seems like we're this monolithic, all-powerful voice coming down, but we truly appreciate when you guys say what you're thinking, because 1, it doesn't just give us a perspective, it can show us mistakes when we haven't made them, and if you guys sort of just say, oh, cabinet supports this, we're good, that's how SGA gets in trouble, that's how we make mistakes, because again, we are students just like you. We are passionate about certain things, we're human beings, but it won't follow you. This isn't one of those things where you say, you know what, maybe I do like this ad, and we shun you out. No. We just want to make it clear as cabinet that we appreciate when you dissent, not just with us, but even with the majority. Even if you feel like something's gonna pass 99%, I would encourage you to ask your questions. I would encourage you to disagree because, I don't know, I feel like what is the point of student senate if we're just coming here to confirm what most people think? If we can't even amongst ourselves be adult enough to disagree and leave it at that, we're sort of just playing at being senators. And I'd really appreciate it if you guys could, like, if you have a problem with anyone on cabinet or with voicing your opinions, I would find it invaluable if you could come up to any one of us and tell us why, or just voice it here and let us know what you're thinking about it.
Thank you. Senator Stallings?
So like, I'm gonna say it, I feel like we're subtweeting a lot right now, because I feel like maybe there's been some experiences between Senator and Cabinet that I don't know about, and like, I was wondering, is there something that we should be concerned about? Like, is there a culture that like is actually very real here, or are you just like wanting to clear the air? You felt like that's something that should have been said that hasn't been said, and not necessarily prompted by an event?
Well, sort of both, but it sort of became clear last week where, how did I say this? Wow, you're right, without subtweeting.
I should be very clear, I don't want names or anything, like I'm not trying to out anyone right now, that's not like at all what I want to happen, but like just want to be real about.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be real. So in my committee, people discussed discomfort with voicing certain ideas or certain opinions that either A, were against what most people believed, or B, it was because a cabinet member or the entire cabinet seemed to be strongly behind that idea. And when they voiced that to me, I thought that was kind of like something that we should discuss, something that we should bring up if you guys feel like, I don't know, do you feel like if any of us as cabinet were to bring something to the table, you wouldn't have the backing to say no, to even ask like really good questions about it, even though, yes, we are human beings and I might have come in here extremely passionate? No, we're all good.
So one more thought on that. I think that like it's really good that we acknowledge that like there are going to be power dynamics which naturally kind of evolve in spaces like this, right? And that we should talk about the fact that like people are wanted and needed and voted like in here, the spaces, so they should be here. But I also think that we should say that SGA does not function outside of the current political and social climate of this country, like when it comes to disagreeing and how we talk to each other. I really think that perhaps it's not really like that the cabinet has done anything explicitly, but rather that it's right now it's really hard to like feel like you I feel like tolerance is really hard in conversations in this current climate. So you guys are doing fine. You haven't done anything wrong, I think.
Senator Gumijala?
Yeah, I definitely think that personally I agree with what Senator Stallings said just now, and I definitely appreciate that you are like that this question is being brought forward and that you are like asking the senators like I guess like collectively how they feel that dynamic is. And I even like appreciated when AC Welch had those like one-on-one sessions and we were able to like have a discussion about what we feel could be better in the space. And yeah, I just think that that stuff's important, but I definitely don't think that it's personal per se. So yeah.
Senator Zernick?
Just to speak to the power dynamic that naturally evolves in a space like this, I think one of the biggest issues is framing, just because senators don't have the same access to information that cabinet members do, and so when like interactions with admin are presented or different things are presented by cab to the Senate, the way those things are framed is very important in how we interpret them. And I'm not saying that this is something that can immediately be addressed or be necessarily changed because our framing is going to be influenced by our bias, but that's just something to consider. I think that when CAB is informing the Senate of things that we don't have access otherwise, then our access is inherently altered by the bias of cab members.
Thank you. Does anyone else have anything to add? Senator Pedro Santa?
I also feel that when we bring up concerns or issues regarding campus or our stance on certain issues, it's not like the topic's brought in without a pre-existing opinion or stance on it. It's more like somebody makes an opinion on whatever happened. For example, it'd be the conduct violation and stuff, or the sad thing, or I'm trying to think, what was the other one? The academic standing thing. And I feel like when they're brought to Senate in a certain way with already a pre-existing opinion on it, it's really difficult to have a productive conversation where, being frankly honest, I disagree with the majority of stuff that was happening during all of those conversations, and I felt like it was really difficult to voice an opinion that was both conscious of the, like we said, the political climate and the implications that could come with that opinion, but at the same time trying to maybe have more of a more nuanced or complex or critical conversation about something that's very serious. And I feel like sometimes we blow through meetings or conversations really quickly and don't, I guess, value or recognize the privilege of being a senator. And so yeah, I guess in my opinion, it is pretty frustrating. I think it's pretty monolithic. I also don't really like that there are times when senators or a committee will decide something, whether it be a budget or something like that, and then cabinet can go, and because they know how to function within the system, go and completely curve what the Senate said or what the senator said, and go along with an action that a committee decided was not okay. So stuff like that. I mean, just things like that really, really bother me. Yeah.
Thank you. Services Chair Tintama.
Just speaking to the whole cabinet having the ability to sort of skirt the system, it's still important that you pointed out that we said no and you still went ahead and did it, because if you need to be careful about the precedent you set. If cabinet feels empowered, and I'm not saying that we're an evil group planning to take over the world, but we live in a flawed world, and that is a reality. If you set a precedent that you can notice cabinet doing sketchy things and you say nothing about it, that permeates. So I encourage you, even if you think cabinet has the ability to do things like that, I encourage you to speak out and say it, because at least bringing awareness to the issue sort of takes away the confidence that they can do that thing.
Senator Bollinger.
So I understand that now in the what is it called, the agenda, it now just says AC and they all write out what they've done for the week, but I think this is just a problem that I have in general, is now we ask nothing to add and it goes by really quickly, and that sometimes I think we just need a little bit more time to process and look at what was written down in the week, or it just feels like it's very rushed, and if I did want to ask a question, I can't, because first off, it's at the very end of the meeting when everyone's let's leave immediately, and so I think that's not great, because I feel like there's a lot of valuable stuff at the very end. So, yeah.
Thank you. Constitutional Christensen.
I agree with that in part, because I think that this is a really great opportunity for senators to ask direct questions to cabinet members about exactly what we're doing. At the same time, we received this email with the agenda several hours beforehand, and the purpose of that is to look over the agenda and to read it so that you're prepared for student senate, and so I think that, you know, even just taking that moment to look over and be like, oh, well, I want to ask this, you know, like I want to ask Administrator Coordinator Welch, like what's up with eating all that watermelon? You know, then you know ahead of time, and maybe we should just be in more of a practice of after saying nothing to add, but questions welcome or something like that. I'd be totally down for that. I welcome questions anytime there's a cabinet report.
Thank you. Does anyone else have, oh, Senator Pietrasanta, my bad.
I guess going back to Khadijah's question or the reason this question was brought up, can you like elaborate as to what like prompted you to ask this or why it came about? Just because I feel like we digressed a little bit from the question.
The original reason why I asked the question was just because I feel like we don't have enough conversations about like what like senators are doing on campus, what areas they need help with, kind of what are some of your goals and stuff, and just seeing like the reason why they became representatives for the student body and like expressing that and like seeing us as CAP, like how can we help better, like for you guys to reach your goals. I think it's really important. And it's a conversation that I wish we had earlier in the semester. So, yeah.
Delegate Cheslak?
Something that I've noticed or thought about as a non-senator is that it kind of feels like senators don't really represent their constituents, but more their own ideas and feelings. And I think that like I don't really talk to my senators that represent me, like as senators, and I feel like if there was more focus on having like events where you reach out to your constituents early on and they know you and they feel like they can ask you questions or tell you their problems, that'd be really helpful.
Thank you. Senator Lloyd?
Yeah, kind of going off of that, we are supposed to be like representing the people in our cluster, and while I do interact with a lot of people in Loosehead, it's mostly my friends, and so I feel like, we did hold an event with like office hours earlier where nobody showed up, so I was wondering if any other senators here had different things that were successful for them for getting like branching out between, getting like different voices within your cluster outside the people you see on like a daily basis who live there.
Thank you. Senator Stallings?
To address a couple of points, I do think it's totally our responsibility to reach out to our constituents and to like know the people that we're representing. I personally miss the function of like the town halls or like the hall councils, that we could have in our clusters. We're actually having one again. There's going to be like an off-campus event, off-campus students event at Saints, and we're on Readings Day. We'll have an after hours tab and everything like we did last year, and that was really good. Actually, we had I think 75. How many people came out for that event? A lot. It was like 75 to 100 people from our cluster came. It was really cool. And I think that we have that responsibility to even if it's without money, but maybe time, invest in the people that we represent. Simultaneously, those people voted for me to be here. And so I think that I have a lot of strong views and opinions about things. And I think that there are definitely people that would not necessarily agree with how I think or what I think in my cluster. But I'm not necessarily here to represent those views and them, but I'm here to represent the people that voted for me and really a majority voted for me to talk about how I feel and act in the way that I do, on the foundations of why I did my campaign or whatever, So I think that that's important too, that we think about that, because obviously for you to be here, someone valued you to be here and they valued your opinions, and I want to hear those too.
Delegate Cheslak?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. retweet. But I feel like one part that could be improved is if constituents have like specific problems. I don't think they actually, or I think a lot of students don't understand what actually goes down here and what kind of like, I guess, power or influence like the senators have and SGA has. And so I think more outreach around like what senators could help you with. So like if you have a problem with like this specific thing, if you come to your senator, what they could do, like if they could bring it up here. Yeah, I don't know how that would look in the future, but like more outreach and more just like letting people know what happens at Student Senate.
Senator Stallings?
Yeah, that's really real. A lot of people have no idea what we're doing. I tell my friends that I'm going to Student Senate, they're like what is actually happening there? I think that we could do more outreach on behalf of like our constituents at the beginning, and like just like even if it's through example, like here's a problem you may have, or you may want to start a group, or you may need funding for something that you think you can't get funding for. Let's talk about that, because I do think a lot of people don't know that we do work that really does impact students' experiences here.
Senator Herbert?
Yeah, on that note, I was wondering, has SGA ever done like a video of being like, this is SGA, this is Student Senate, here's what we do? Something like that to like put on Facebook or to like put in all the groups. I think that would be really interesting. I mean, like a few clips of like how things work in Student Senate. I think that would be really interesting, and like that might answer some of these problems of like outreach and things like that. Because it's hard to reach everyone, so, because like a lot of times people don't show up, so. Yeah.
Thank you. Senator Bollinger?
So over like the past couple of months, a couple of people have like come up to me and asked like people have asked like how do I create a club or something like that, and I feel like that's a very like inherent like SGA thing that we can tell people, but like they're coming up to me and asking me because they literally have no idea, and like it makes it pretty difficult, I think, you know. So that's just one way that like I've kind of helped out other students and like pointing them in different directions, because a lot of students I think just they're like, oh God, where do I go? So yeah.
Does anyone else have anything left to add? Senator Guajella?
Yeah, a few things. I think that's a really great idea of what Senator Herbert said about the video, and we've definitely been talking about that in outreach and just like using social media more, because I think that's just like a really easy way to like reach students on this campus, because everyone uses social media like at some point throughout the day usually. So also mini minutes are good sometimes, and I just wanted to like throw that out there. Senator Jones sends them out every week for Loosehead, and I think that people actually read them. So that's just like a good way to send out information on like what's actually going on and what we're talking about. Because he usually adds like discussion topics in there too, so that's really good.
Councilor Chair Christensen? Can we please get a mic down?
Sorry, this just occurred to me. I know that the SMB usually covers like stuff that happens in Student Senate, but could there even be like a little like this week in Student Senate like section that just informs people like what exactly happened? Because I know a lot of people read the SMB.
All right, would anyone else like to add anything to this discussion? I don't want to drag it out, but I also want to acknowledge if people are still processing their thoughts, because I think that's important. Nope. Okay, thank you all for your thoughts. Khadija, do you have anything left to add on this? No? All right. So that discussion is closed. And next we're going to move on to our cabinet reports. So AC Welch.
I don't have anything to add, but would welcome questions.
I have a question. How'd you like that OSU v Michigan game?
Good old-fashioned butt kicking.
Amen. Senator Collinger?
Was the meeting, the Friday meeting with Angela Vu and Dean Latham, was that like last Friday or this Friday?
This Friday, yeah.
What is it are you going to talk about, like the union, or like is it just?
Oh, sorry. I meant it happened 3 days ago.
Oh, okay.
2 days ago. We have a meeting theoretically this week with like DSA, with Student Affairs, and as long as they don't say they don't want to meet with us because they're upset about the union protest, then we will. I assume we'll be talking about that.
Thank you. Constitution Christensen?
You scroll down to my notes. Okay, yeah, I have a few things I wanted to talk about. One, Showvember was awesome. Thanks everyone for coming out. It was a really fun night. FM finally got back to me after I asked Angela Booth to email them directly. And so they're going to be looking into our electrical sockets and hopefully dealing with the mold in the green room, but I don't have a timeline for that. I am still getting a lot of artist recommendations for the spring, which is awesome. I'm planning on doing a lot of the booking over winter break because I just don't have the time the next 3 weeks. So please continue to make recommendations. You can find the form for that at the top of our Facebook page. I just want people to consider that our general budget per band, if we're considering having 7 to 10 shows a semester, is about $3,500 per band. So I get a lot of suggestions that are like, oh yeah, this band is like listed as being under $25,000 to book. And it's like, yes, that's cheap in the music industry, but that would also mean we would only have 1 show a semester. So I just ask that people have reasonable expectations about who you want to book. If you have any questions or concerns about booking, I would love to talk about it. You can email me. I'm almost always at my office hours on Fridays from 10 to 12 in the Grill. I'm happy to go into the process of how booking works in terms, like everything from like reaching out to artists in the beginning to like payment. And then lastly, in relation to the Grinnell Thumbs Down stuff, yeah, I originally posted that because I get literally hundreds of emails a day from various recording and like different music agencies that are trying to book bands. And I was sick and tired of it, also because when I told them that I was not interested in their band, they would continue to email me and harass me, demanding why I didn't want their band. So that language was not meant to be as inflammatory as it was taken, but I do agree that the language needs to be changed. And so I'm working on a statement that will state that we will prioritize booking like people of color and LGBTQ+, differently abled musicians. But if a completely cis white boy band wants to play at Grinnell, I'm willing to book them, but I will not pay them for their show. Because that's how a lot of shows at different venues work. The band only gets paid from what donations they receive and from whatever merch they sell, so that's like a very common thing to do. And I don't think that this money needs to be going to people who are already very privileged in the music industry. It's not a hard and fast rule, and I'm certainly open to talking more about it. On the other hand, if you're not coming to committee meetings or coming and talking to me about it and just talking behind my back about it, then I'm sorry, I can't help you. So yeah, that's everything. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Senator Zarnik, do you have a question? Go for it.
I'm just curious about what the process is after you receive suggestions from students, what the process is for deciding what bands are going to play and what aren't.
So right now I have 200 plus suggestions in the Google form. I go through, right now I'm going through the most recent ones that were made in the past few months. I don't check out, I try and check every musician that is suggested, but if, for example, I see that it's, like a big name like Lizzo, who performed at Iowa State just this semester, or, I don't know, like Chance the Rapper, I'm not gonna consider that, obviously. If I get multiple requests for the same artist, then I will definitely look into them. If I get emails from individuals who know bands, I try and look into them. I basically compile a list of people that I believe we can afford and who would be willing or able to travel to central Iowa to perform in the middle of nowhere. Does that answer your question?
Yes, mostly. Thank you. Like the other half of my question, I don't think it's fully developed, so I'll try to talk to you later.
Thank you. Excuse me. Sorry. Are there any other questions? No? Consul Chair Christensen, do you have anything left to add? Okay, thank you. So I completely skipped everyone else because my screen was loading weirdly. But okay, Treasurer Akalani. Nothing to add? Alrighty. Anyone have any questions on this? Nope. A.T. Weber? Nothing to add? DOC Logan is absent. Viva Murphy?
The stuff in bold is things that I think are particularly relevant to senators and that I think are things that if anybody's interested in, please talk to me about. I'm like gathering student input and stuff on these things. Another thing to add is that I'm on the Grinnell Prize Committee, and so I've got like 500 pages of reading like cover letters for that for Thursday. So I'm sorry, I'm a little bogged down by that right now. But yeah, I'm still able to like get back to you if you have any issues. Going into like the end of the year, I know it's an academically stressful time. So if you are stressed, take care of yourself. I'm here to help you if you need anything. If you're not, that's okay. You don't have to be stressed. It's not weird if you like reach the end of the year and you are not feeling irregularly stressed. That's okay too. So thanks everyone. Good luck.
Senator Zarnik?
I see that you met with Jen Jacobson about quote-unquote locking doors, which I'm guessing specifically refers to, I think, 2 incidents, possibly more. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, we were actually planning to meet before that about this topic. We discussed it a couple weeks ago, and then it was obviously very much shaped by recent events and the query warning. What we were talking about is just different ways that we could work with Res Life to get out like programming about, like outreach about getting people to lock their doors and remember their keys, but also working with campus safety to remove fines for like locking yourself out of your room so that people are not encouraged to leave their doors unlocked, but also doing this in a way that's safe and like responsible. It's not victim shaming. It's not saying that like, you know, if you don't lock your door, then things are like your fault, right? And trying to be like conscious about the way these things are done. So I'm also happy to take input on that, and you can contact Jen Jacobson too.
Thank you. Senator Pedro Santa?
Has Grinnell ever thought about, like, you know how in hotels you have those, like, you can use, you know, you get your P card and you can like click it in to get into the halls, whatever, having that specifically for each room, like that you would, only your roommates would have access to, and you would just like click it and it would unlock for you, but it would lock on the way back, like on the way out, or...
That's a good idea. I'll bring it up, so I imagine the problem is price.
Yeah, so I'm sure that's expensive as hell.
Yeah, but someday I imagine like things are headed in that direction, so I can bring it up.
Cool, thank you.
Technical Advisor Gould has something to speak to that, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, to the specific thing about like the key card, like hotels with the doors locked behind you. I visited some friends at University of Pittsburgh and they have it and they hate it because like they'll go to the bathroom and then forget their wallet and they're locked out of their room like a lot.
Senator Pedro Santa, do you have anything else you want to add? No? Okay, cool. Treasurer Agalani, did I see a hand? Yeah?
VP Murphy, can you explain what the GURG is for those of us who don't know?
The Grinnell Undergraduate Research Journal. I'm going to be bothering you guys about this like a lot next semester, so I guess this is a taste. The Grinnell Undergraduate Research Journal publishes student work. It's peer-reviewed by students working with a board of faculty advisors to highlight the good work that students are doing. I'll be assembling a staff hopefully soon, and you will be hearing more about that. You'll be getting emails from me.
Thank you. Anything else to add? No? Alrighty. President Becker is absent. VP Setomu?
I had a lot of meetings, as usual. A lot of committee meetings, parking committees, dining committee, other committees, I don't know, and harm reduction. But one thing, so I've been talking to a lot of like dining officials about having, like how can we get more student involvement in dining and like what our like menu would look like for the day and weeks. And so I suggested to them like, could we have students like submit recipes for them to then choose and, you know, make for all the students. So they talked to some officials in dining and they agreed. And so now you guys can submit recipes to dining or email it to me. I can email it to them and they will look at it, and if they see that they like it, then they'll pick it up and it could be even established into the regular menu.
Senator Collinger?
So is it just like we want to email the recipes to you then, Khadijah? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Or we can make a document. I don't know. Yeah. Like a survey.
I was thinking about like putting a post somehow like on current students, just letting all students know, just because I think this is something that could really help change and shape like dining and make it a little bit more inclusive hopefully, and give you guys some power in like choosing what you get to eat. So I don't know, I'm excited, I'm happy.
Thank you. Also, just a point, Facebook is not accessible in every country in the world, so I'm gonna just suggest emailing as well, because not everyone on this campus is active on Facebook. But yeah, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Do you have anything left to add?
Nothing to add.
Okay, thank you. Services Chair Tibetamore. Let's get that mic up to the front. Thank you.
I've been doing a lot of budgeting stuff this week, just looking at trends and noticing how like we have dips, ups and downs. It's really interesting. You should ask me about it. I had a lot of meetings with CLS as well about reaching out to student groups and having alumni who actually have jobs and are trying to reach out to students on campus, but they have like no avenue to do it. So I'm trying to find a sustainable way for that to be like. I don't know, because I know you get a lot of emails. It wouldn't make sense if you're a theater major and you get an email from Google. But yeah, if you have any other questions about what I did, please let me know.
Any questions or comments? No? Okay. Vice Chair Mystic?
Yeah, so I just had like office hours, meetings with ACES, concerts, Michael Sims, as usual. We talked about like the ending and the wrapping up of our semester, you know, waltz stuff, because waltz is going to be in main lounge and main quad at the same time, so we're trying to figure out how we're going to place ACES, how many people we're going to have, to make sure the space is safe. We didn't have ACE, why does it say no ACE committee? Well, that was last week, but, you know, I literally got all the budgets that were supposed to go to ACE committee on Sunday on like Tuesday. So like, if you guys want to tell your constituents to turn your budgets on time, that would be great. Because yeah, Facebook events. You know, I made Facebook events for the movies this week, and then also shared fetish, all the different events that happened this past weekend on Facebook on the SGA page. Also, what was I gonna say? Oh, this weekend, the last movie of the semester is Elf, you know, in the holiday spirit. There's gonna be an event, ACES/ACE hosting it, basically just to get people to know what ACES and ACE does, but also like, it's gonna be a lot of food. So like, please come and eat it so we don't waste the money.
When is this event?
This Friday at 7 p.m. in Harris Cinema Lounge.
Thank you. Senator Pedro Santa? Can we get a mic, please? Thank you.
Sayla, how'd you get them, like, bullet points so big?
I have no idea. It happens every time. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm in Google Docs. I hate you, my God.
Senator Zernig?
So you said that the ACES event is at 7 in Harris Cinema Lounge. When is the movie showing?
7:15.
7:15. And there's one showing this Friday or two?
It's 2. Yeah.
7:15 and...
I don't know the exact time, but it should be on like the Grinnell calendar.
Awesome.
But and then yeah, there's like a 15-minute break in between, and we'll probably have like signs that indicate, you know, this is where the food's at. I mean, it's gonna be where like popcorn is normally at. So.
Senator Pedro Santa?
In Harris, that room that has like a foosball, all that, is that the lounge thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that only open when there's Harris events, or can students go in there? I found about it yesterday, and I like it. And I would do homework there if I could. But is it just like...
I actually have no idea.
Did you rent it out?
Like, I'm sure you could rent it out, like make a reservation if you wanted to have like an event there. But I think like for the most part when like there are like events happening either in Harris, like the concert hall where Harris is happening, or like the movies, it's open. But I don't know if it's open all the time. That's a question that I would not know.
Senator Stallings, is that a hand? No? Okay. Anyone else have any further comments or questions? No? Okay, that concludes our, adjourning motion proposed by AC Welch, seconded by Senator Pedro Santa. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? No. All those abstaining? Say nothing. Okay, thank you everyone. We will see you back here next Sunday. Thank you for your time and energy.